Inside a heavily secured armored car depot in Los Angeles, workers are preparing to go home. Millions of dollars sit behind reinforced vault doors. Security cameras watch every corner. Armed guards patrol the building. The facility seems impossible to rob, yet in less than 30 minutes, thieves will walk out with nearly $19 million in cash. No alarms, no shootouts, no hostages. No one will even notice the money is gone. At first, investigators suspect a professional crime syndicate, maybe the mafia, maybe an international cartel. But as the investigation unfolds, a strange truth emerges. The people behind the largest cash robbery in American history aren't master criminals, they're employees. And their biggest mistake won't be stealing the money, it'll be trying to spend it. This is the story of the Dunbar Armored Robbery, and how the largest cash heist in American history unraveled one mistake at a time. Picture this. You work inside one of the most secure cash facilities in America. Every day you're surrounded by mountains of money, stacks of cash, pallets of cash, more money than most people will see in a lifetime. Yet none of it belongs to you. You walk the same halls every day. You know which doors stay locked, which ones don't. You know where the cameras are. You know where they aren't. You know when guards are alert and when nobody is paying attention. Eventually you begin to notice something. The security isn't as perfect as everyone thinks. Every night, workers leave the main vault unattended during meal breaks. Certain camera angles leave blind spots. The backup surveillance recordings are hidden in a locked cabinet that only a handful of employees even know exists. And if someone understood the facility well enough, they could walk away with millions. For most people, that thought would disappear as quickly as it arrived. But not this guy. Over time, the temptation grew. He wasn't a criminal, he had no record, no history of robberies, nothing that would make him stand out. Just a middle-class worker who spent every day handling extraordinary amounts of cash while earning an ordinary paycheck. Soon, curiosity became obsession. Alan Pace knows the building better than almost anyone. He's worked security inside the facility. His job is to protect the money. Instead, he's studying it, every camera, every blind spot, every shift change, every weakness. And eventually, he realizes something. The biggest threat to Dunbar isn't someone trying to break in, it's someone who's already inside. So Pace begins assembling a team. He began studying the building, mapping camera locations, timing delivery schedules, learning which bundles of cash could be tracked and which couldn't, secretly taking photographs, making notes, holding quiet meetings with trusted childhood friends, people from his neighborhood, men who trust him. The plan is simple. Enter the depot after hours. Use insider knowledge. Take the money. Disappear. For months they prepare. They study schedules, test security procedures, practice routes, and most importantly, they avoid attracting attention. Then something happened that forced his hand. On September 12, 1997, management fired him. Just like that. By Monday, his keys would be disabled, his access would be gone, and the opportunity he'd spent months preparing for would disappear forever. The clock was suddenly ticking. If he wanted to do it, it had to be now. So that very evening, he gathered his crew, picked up his unreturned master keys, and set one of the largest cash heists in the history of the United States into motion. On December 12th, just after midnight, the crew arrives. Using keys and insider access, they enter the building. No alarms sound, no guards are harmed, no dramatic confrontation takes place. Inside the vault area, they move quickly. Bags, cash trays, stacks of bills. Millions disappear into waiting vehicles. The operation takes less than half an hour. Then, they're gone. When employees arrive later, the scale of the theft is staggering. Nearly $19 million has vanished. At the time, it is the largest cash robbery in American history. Investigators face an uncomfortable possibility. The robbers knew too much. This wasn't an outside job. Someone on the inside helped them. Investigators begin examining employees, and one name quickly stands out: Alan Pace. He had detailed knowledge of the facility, security procedures, camera placements, vault operations. But suspicion isn't evidence, and Pace appears calm. So the FBI starts following leads. Every financial records they could get their hands on, phone calls, associates and staffs that knew anything about him. Months pass. but every single effort seemed to lead to a dead end. For more than 2 years, the robbery seemed impossible to solve. The FBI investigated hundreds of leads. Detectives interviewed employees. Tips poured in, but none of them quite provided solid evidence. The crew had done almost everything right. They didn't spend lavishly, they didn't talk, and most importantly, they didn't keep the money in their homes. Instead, the cash was hidden inside ordinary self-storage units scattered across Los Angeles. Everything seemed to be going smoothly until one of the robbers made a mistake, a very expensive mistake. On September 1999, one member of the crew, Eugene Hill, decided he wanted to buy a house with cash, a lot of cash. He arrived carrying a duffel bag containing more than $200,000, but it wasn't the amount that caught attention. It was the way the money was packaged. The bills were still wrapped in the original paper currency straps from Dunbar Armored, the same company that had been robbed 2 years earlier. To anyone familiar with the case, it was like walking into a police station wearing a name tag. The suspicious broker contacted authorities. Within days, Hill was under arrest, and once investigators began questioning him, the silence that had protected the crew for years finally broke. Facing the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison, Hill confessed. Then he started naming names. One by one, the entire operation began to unravel. But the FBI wanted more than confessions. They wanted proof. And that's when they returned to a clue that had been sitting in evidence storage since the night of the robbery. A tiny fragment of amber-colored plastic, barely larger than a fingernail. When the robbery occurred, LAPD detectives had found the broken shard on the floor of the depot. At the time, it seemed insignificant. Now, it suddenly mattered. Federal agents traced the rental records of a U-Haul truck believed to have been used during the heist. The truck had been rented by one of the men Hill identified, Eric Boyd. And when Boyd returned the vehicle after the robbery, it had a damaged taillight. When the FBI compared the broken lens from the truck to the plastic shard recovered from the crime scene, it was a perfect match. After 2 years of dead ends, the FBI finally had what they needed: confessions, physical evidence, and a direct link connecting the suspects to the robbery itself. The perfect crime was no longer perfect. The crew stole millions, enough money to change their lives forever. But keeping a secret turns out to be harder than stealing the cash. Investigators recover buried money. Witnesses begin cooperating. Evidence piles up. One by one, the participants are identified. Arrests follow, then convictions. The men who executed one of the most successful robberies in history are ultimately brought down by the very thing they wanted most: the money. Today, the Dunbar robbery remains one of the most remarkable heists ever carried out. Not because of violence, not because of advanced technology, but because a group of ordinary employees managed to defeat millions of dollars worth of security simply by understanding it better than anyone else. For a brief moment, their plan worked perfectly. The robbery wasn't what failed. Keeping the secret was.